G'day guys, your old mate Big J here. Thanks for tuning in. If you just found this channel, I haven't given it a name or anything yet. I'll wait until I'll probably get a bit more subscribers and have an idea of what I'm doing and see if anyone actually comments on the video. So big weekend in Australian boxing. Before I get to that, I've got a little bit of outside business to attend to. Those who have been watching Lyndon Hoskins' deep dive, boxing deep dive or talking boxing that happens every Monday night. Shout out to Lyndon. Know that I've got a little bit of a thing going on for a journalist from Sydney. Actually, he's from Newcastle, called Jai McAllister. He's got his own channel. Check it out. I think it's called Barking Dog Media. Mate of mine who is dumb enough to think that he can get in the ring with me and take me out. Now, I'm a 42-year-old broken down, beat up soldier. Now, I weigh about almost 110 kilo. And, I wouldn't say that while I've never really had a professional fight, I would easily destroy this skinny little motherfucker who's probably about 6'3" and 90 kilos soaking wet carrying a brick. So, Jai McAllister's a little smart ass who thinks that he can take me on, and he's been ducking me for a while. It was his idea that he said he could fight me in the first place. We had our first face-off on the Parker Opaloo card. We had a bit of fun, and he says, I can beat you. Be like, you're a fucking idiot. I'll knock your head off. So he's ducking me now. He's been ducking me for over a year. Now he's throwing other journos under the bus. Said I should fight them first to shake off ring rust. I said, you've never had a fight in your life, you fucking pansy. So I will absolutely knock his head off. If No Limit hear this, George Rose, put up the money, right? It'll only be a short fight. You can sanction any round you want. 6x3, 4x3, 5x2. It doesn't matter what it is, because I'm only going to need 30 seconds to knock his head off, and that'll be the end of him. So, yeah, if you've got the gumption, and we all know you haven't got the balls to get in the ring with me, McAllister, so it doesn't really matter. So, but anyway, back on the more pressing things. So on the weekend, Ace Boxing, Angelo DiCarlo and all those good blokes at Ace Boxing up there in Brisbane had a fight night card over the weekend, and an Aussie girl called Skye Kenneally won the WBA light heavyweight world title in only a fifth professional fight, therefore breaking Jeff Fennick's record of 7 fights. Now, there's some people out there that think that this is a bit of a joke. Her opponent, whose name was a Colombian girl by the name of Angie Roca, who had a half-decent record of 13-4-3, looked like the worst opponent I've ever seen. I mean, her guts was hanging out everywhere. It was actually pretty bad. But having said that, there's only 25 people in the entire division ranked. So what are you going to do? Someone's got to start somewhere. And people are saying it shouldn't be compared to Jeff Fennick's record, but I'd like to give you a little bit of a history lesson. When Jeff Fennick won his IBF Bantamweight title back in 1985, on the 26th of April 1985, he took on a Japanese fighter, and I'll bring the record up right now. I'm going to butcher this bloke's name. I'm not even going to even try to pronounce it. Right, his name was a Japanese fella by the name of Satoshi Singakai. I think that's, apologies if I butchered his name. I probably have butchered his name. Who had a record of, when he fought Jeff, of 8-1-1, which is not too bad. But you got to remember is that this fella won the IBF Bantamweight title in 1984 versus a guy called Elmer Magagalo, right? Who only had a record of 3-7-2 at the time of fighting for a vacant IBF Bantamweight title. All right. Now, this Japanese fella, right, 2 fights before fighting for the vacant world title, got knocked out in the 12th round, right, at, I believe it was flyweight. No, for the IBF light fly title, which is 108 pound. So this fella, while going for the vacant IBF flyweight title, which I believe would have been the inaugural one, got knocked out in 12 rounds, because back in those days there were 15 rounds. Then fought a bloke 8-3-1 knocked him out in 3, and then fought for the title. Right, defended it against the guy on his debut in 1984. On his debut, right, and got a split decision win, and then fought Fenech twice and lost both times. He got knocked out in the 9th round when Fenech won it, and then they had the rematch about 4 months later, and Fenech knocked him out inside of 4 rounds. So then Jeff went on to have his fantastic career. So people that are saying that this shouldn't be put in the same bag as Jeff Fenech, I think that's a little harsh, because when Jeff won the IBF title, it was in his infancy. Jeff was only the second man to win that title off the Japanese fella who was the inaugural champion, a paper champion who won it off a guy whose record was 3-7-2. At least when Skye Kenneally won her belt, she won it off of someone who had a record of 14-3-1. That's a lot better than 3-7-2. And these people have to start somewhere. So Skye Kenneally has a fantastic opportunity now to go and have a unification bout with a fighter called, I believe her name is, Lenny Daniels from New Zealand, who is the IBF champion, who just last year beat an Australian girl for that actual title. Let me just bring it up. Yep, the Smiling Assassin. Her record's 10-2-2. She beat a girl called Desley Robinson, 2nd of December last year. It was in New Zealand. I'm pretty sure she's a DNL, one of Dean Lonergan's fighters. Yep, Dean Lonergan's fighters. Right. So this would be a massive opportunity for Lenny Daniels to fight Skye Kenneally in a unification bout. I don't think an Aussie woman has ever fought in a unification bout, ever. Just thinking, no, I'm pretty sure pretty sure no one has. So that's a massive opportunity for her to kick off her career, because if Jeff Fenech never would have won the IBF belt, would his career would have been the same? I dare say not. So, you know, they've got to start somewhere. So congratulations to her. She's got to start somewhere. So the rest of the Ace boxing card I really didn't pay any attention to because I fell asleep. I know Jalen Tate lost in a fight that he was supposed to win. Rocky Oyen looks like he got a gift decision in his fight against the Chinese guy that beat him before. So, yeah, but there's not much else going on there. I didn't really pay much attention to the rest of the card, but you know, quite a good show again by Angelo Calais for what I saw. People are bagging that title fight. It's like, leave it alone. They got to start somewhere. She could go and have a great career. She could beat Daniels in a rematch. In a unification match. She called out Clarissa Shields, who's fighting for the heavyweight title this weekend. Would you believe? She could have a fight against Clarissa Shields. So she's a world champion. She's got the belt. She can start somewhere. On to more pressing matters. So it's been announced, and T Street was at the Skye Nicholson fight the other day when she fought. Who'd she fight? A Dominican Republican fighter. I can't remember her name now. Anyway, Skye Nicholson. Let me just look it up. She was on the Boots Innes undercard in Philadelphia. Excuse me, and she fought Dinah Vargas. And of course, it was a shutout. Skye won every round. Of course she did, because she was fighting a Dominican Republic club fighter. It looks like they went to the local PCYC, said, yeah, g'day, mate. You want to have a world title fight? And yeah, it's like, that's embarrassing, right? That's embarrassing. Like, that's even more embarrassing than Skye Kenneally, because she's fighting for a vacant title when there's only 25 people in the entire division. Skye Nicholson completely dodging any other, ranked opponent to fight some Dominican club fighter is far worse than what Skye Kenneally did on the weekend, because Skye Kenneally was only fighting who the WBA sanctioned. So anyway, Amanda Serrano had her fight on the weekend against, I can't remember what her name is, but beat the absolute shit out of that poor girl at 140. So anyone thinks that Skye Nicholson can beat Amanda Serrano, you need your fucking head read. Amanda Serrano would beat the piss out of Skye Nicholson. So, and I don't say that just because obviously I back the Aussie girl, but I don't think Skye would last 4 rounds against Amanda Serrano. Amanda Serrano would beat the absolute daylights out of her. Speaking of Eddie Matchroom, now there's been rumours, and T Street asked Eddie directly that about Liam Paro, the new IBF 140 champion, fighting former unified lightweight champion George Kambosos Jr. in a massive fight in November, most likely in Brisbane, with Skye on the undercard. Can that happen? Yes, I hope it does. Will that happen? I don't know, because for Liam, it's a very high-risk fight with little to no reward, and it's doing George a favour because George is the one that wins with the big payday, the massive opportunity for a fight, and if he wins the belt, he can either have a third unification rematch with Devin Haney or a rematch unification with Teofimo Lopez, and both those fights would be massive. Those are massive money fights. I've heard that Tio is looking to go into 147 because he's having problems getting to 140. So, but if Liam fights George in November in Brisbane and Skye's on the undercard, that's a massive fight. And if George wins, that's redemption for George. That's a massive, massive fight. Do I think George could beat Liam based on their last performances? I don't think so. I think Liam would beat George because George is a natural in a small 135er, right? Where I reckon Liam would weigh probably close to 155, 160 by the time he gets into the ring. George, I believe, would be no more than 145 when he gets in the ring. That's the tell a lie, it's the IBF, so there will be a 10-pound redration clause. They weigh him in on fight day. They're only allowed to gain 10 pounds, so both of them would be no more than 150. Still advantage Liam. The way that he took out Subrivo Matias, that he just neutralised him from the start, was an absolute masterclass and the biggest upset of the year, unless this Madrimov bloke beats Crawford, which is coming up on August 3rd. In Australia, August 2nd in the States. So unless he wins, August 3rd, August 4th in Australia, unless Madrimov beats Crawford, at the moment Liam Paro's got the upset of the year. Also announced just last week that the Zoo brothers, Tim is having another fight, most likely in September. September 22nd is the date. And Sydney, from what I'm hearing, is going to be the venue, and it's most likely going to be Erickson Lubin. Now, Erickson Lubin is no real threat to Tim Tszyu because he got knocked out in one round by Jamel Charlo, and Sebastian Fendora literally broke his face. So I don't see how Erickson Lubin, even though he's ranked number 3, Tim's ranked number 4 for the IBF rankings of 154, is going to be any threat. I think Tim would deal with Erickson Lubin quite easily. And he also got that gift over Jesus Ramos, whose name's also been mentioned. Bit unfortunate that No Limit couldn't get the IBF champion, what's his name? Bakram Matazaliev for a fight. But obviously if Tim wins this next, which is an IBF eliminator, he will be the mandatory for the winner of Bakram Matazaliev if he has a fight between now and then. Hopefully, if all goes well, Tim likes staying active. If he gets through this one, which he probably will, he could have a world title fight by the end of the year. If he gets through this unscathed, he'll have a world title fight at the end of the year. And he got that massive cut back in March, and he's fighting again 6 months later. Not even 6 months later. That was March 31st, I think, end of March. He's fighting under 6 months. And that was a pretty bad cut. So Nikita's going to fight Kalam Mazudiev. It's August 28th. It's a Wednesday night. Venue yet to be confirmed. That's the one thing I don't like when promoters and Dyson Fury's done it. People have done it before, but No Limit's done it a few times, and they did it when they fought Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu fought Jeff Horner. That they announced the day. They didn't announce the opponent. They didn't announce the venue. They just gave us a date, September 22nd. So, September 22nd, I mean, Melbourne's been mentioned. Hopefully it's Melbourne because I only have to drive an hour up the road to go and see it. And of course, there's all the usual suspects: Sydney, Brisbane, Gold Coast, Newcastle. It'll most likely happen on the East Coast. I seriously doubt they'll go to Perth, even though Perth is having some massive events this year with Lomachenko, Kambosos, UFC. I think it's 305. Israel Adesanya is the main event for trying to get the middleweight title back. So it's a massive. Perth is going in leaps and bounds at the moment, to be perfectly honest. So, for big combat sport events. Melbourne, I don't know. But why announce a fight when you've got no opponent confirmed, and you've got no venue confirmed? I think that's a very silly move. It looks rushed. And sometimes you wonder, what are these guys doing? So, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot more happening in boxing. Boxing is forever moving. It's just I think the sport's getting bigger and bigger now because we're getting more world champions. We're getting more massive fights. At the moment, we've got 7? No, hang on. Current world champions. Jai Pataya, IBF 200 pound, so cruiserweight champion. Liam Paro, 140, super lightweight champion IBF. And the girls, we've got Skye Nicholson, WBC featherweight. Obviously, Skye Kenneally, WBA light heavyweight. And, what's her name? Sneaker Johnson, WBA 118 champion. Of course, Tim Zoo's in the mix. George Kambosos Jr. will be in the mix for the girls. Skye Nicholson, bar the 3 I've just mentioned. I don't think there's anyone else in the mix for a world title fight, but you never know, that could change on a dime. But I'll keep things posted, guys. I like to keep these under 20 minutes. Australian boxing, man, we've got 5 world champions at the moment, 3 female, 2 male. I hope that things only get better. I really hope that Skye Kenneally gets that unification bout with Laurie Daniels. That would be a massive fight. Actually, she was supposed to appear on the No Limit card, but that didn't happen. So No Limit would be wise to snap up Skye Kenneally and get that fight with Laurie Daniels, Lernie Daniels. All right. Because that would just be massive. I don't think a woman's ever had a unification bout before. The Zoo brothers, with Nikita fighting Karl Mazoliev. Mixer Rafa, I forgot to mention this. Mixer Rafa will be appearing on the undercard, I believe, fighting Tommy Brown. Why they're digging up Tommy Brown, I don't know, but it's clearly they just want to get Nikita and Mixer Rafa in the ring at some point. From what I've been told, Mixer Rafa has signed a 3-fight deal with No Limit. Obviously, with the end game being fighting Nikita. He's not going to get Tim, right? Unless he absolutely brutalizes Nikita and knocks him out badly. There's no way Tim's going to fight him. And Mixer Rafa had his chance 3 years ago. That will haunt him for the rest of his days. He should have taken that fight because I believe at the time he would have won. Not now. Tim will slaughter him now. But at the time, I was convinced that Mixer Rafa was going to stop the hype train at the time that was Tim Zoo. Tim Zoo's no longer a hype train. He was at the time, but now he's not. He's done more than enough to prove that he's the top dog in the 154 division. Despite that loss, that wasn't really a loss to Sebastian Fendora. If they have a rematch and Tim doesn't get cut, he would beat the living shit out of Sebastian Fendora. But he's going to go fight Spence. So it's going to be interesting. Aussie boxing always moving forward, always going things. I'm going to make an effort to try and get out to more events, so you can see me more. Follow me on social media, like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Old Mate Big J and Instagram, and I'll bring you another video when things continue to pick up. All right, guys, have a great day.